Hopefully you are aware that President Trump, Jeff Sessions, have instituted a policy of taking children away from their parents. Parents who have gone through tremendous hardship making a journey from their Central American country or from Mexico to get away from gang violence or other life-threatening situations and seek asylum, apply for asylum in our country. These are refugees. And President Trump has taken his famous pen, crossed out the word refugees, put in the word criminals, and decided that he's entitled to take the children away from their parents. Toddlers, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 14-year-olds, away from their parents. This is unarguably breaking the children, psychologically breaking them, traumatizing them, a trauma they will never recover from or spend a lifetime recovering from. We do not brutalize children for political gain. Every time a child is kidnapped in this country, the whole country feels the pain of the child and the parent and the kind of harm that separation does. This has to stop immediately. This is child abuse of exponential proportion and of exponential darkness. It is so twisted. I charge Trump and his entire administration and every legislator who is standing by this of criminal child abuse. I'm not the only one. The United Nations has said what is happening is illegal. The whole world has condemned the way we might if it were a Saddam Hussein doing this to children. I also charge them with abuse to me, because I am not that person who would stand by and watch a child terrorized and traumatized by an adult and do nothing. And I am being forced by lack of power to do something about this, to be a participant in this by standing by. You need to know that in this, first of all, I'm a mandated reporter, and you need to know that in this country, it is a crime to abuse children, and it's also a crime for the partner or adult who is aware that the child is being abused and does nothing. So we are all criminal in not doing something about this. But I charge the legislators who are standing by, because they have the power to stop this. Congress has the power to stop this. And his administration who is standing by it, I charge them. And I ask you to join me. I ask you to join me. Specifically, I'm asking the fathers, because the quintessence of the role of father is the protector. There's been a lot of women's marches. This one's on the men. To lead the way, to take control of the ship. And specifically, I call on white Republican men, because this is rolling out as a Republican stand. Really? 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 No, I don't believe it. I know way too many really good fathers who happen to be Republican who would never brutalize a child or stand by and watch the child traumatized and do nothing. And if you happen to be a Republican who's under the misguided thought that you are supposed to represent your party, and some misguided idea of loyalty that you're supposed to represent your party, no. Way back when, your fathers joined the party because it represented their values. You are being represented as a sadist, a child abuser. And I don't believe that represents you. I ask you to stand up and demand that this practice of separating children from their parents stop immediately. We're talking about babies crying every night, crying all day, moaning in their sleep, their bellies hurting. Trauma, this is overwhelming. That level of agony is overwhelming to the central nervous system of the children. It defines trauma. And trauma attacks. To be traumatized, that means your back brain is still emitting high levels of hormones that are meant to protect you from danger. Only those levels are supposed to come down after the danger. So when there's chronic danger, they don't come down. And those levels attack your immunology, the fascia around your muscles, your respiratory system, your digestive system, your reproductive system. It inhibits your cognitive development. To the extent that you're in this brain, you can't be in this brain. You can't think clearly. You can't focus. You can't learn. We are devastating these children, harming them for life. It has to stop now. Almost half of us were abused as children, which means there are so many of us who are forced to stand by and watch, to stand by while our mothers, sometimes our fathers, or our brothers, or our sisters were being brutalized or humiliated. And that is traumatic for the one who watches, right? Because the inherent impulse to fight or to flee has to be frozen. It's protective that it's frozen. You wouldn't have won that fight. But then that freeze is wired into your central nervous system for life, unless you do some repair work. And that repair work, requires professional help, and a very specific kind of professional help. So you're wired to be in freeze, which means you're not capable of enjoying your full potential, your full possibilities. So this is a chance, an opportunity for you to heal, you who have been through that, for you to heal. Because part of the healing is to complete the impulse that was not able to complete at the time, the impulse that is still frozen, the impulse to stand up for the other. And especially if you dedicate it to that healing, it will begin that healing. Every man, every male organization, every boys' club, Lions, Rotary, veterans clubs, every organization that has men in it, every religion, every sermon, every place. I call on you to spread the word, to have the men show up at the town square or wherever in your community protests are held. Show up on Father's Day. Spread the word yourself. Use your organizations to spread it. And show up in the town square or wherever the protests are held on Father's Day. Bring your daughters, bring your sons. Let them know you are not that guy who stands by and lets children be brutalized. And definitely call your senators and your representatives. This has to stop immediately. The UN has called for it to stop immediately, but of course, hey, it's falling on heartless ears.